Well, hi guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and look at that. We got 4 wheels on the goofy cart. She's really starting to come along now. Yep, I got my front end installed today. As you saw, I painted my front axle last night, and it was dry enough this morning that I was able to install it. I'm not sure that I'm happy with the color. I think I should have gone with the hammered silver, like I've been doing with so many of the other parts, like that right there, you know what I mean? I think that's what I should have done, but it's done, and I don't think I'm going to take it apart again. So what you see is what you will get. We have our spindles all mounted, of course, so that we have our wheels on there. I'm going to have to do some adjusting on my spindles. I hope it's not because my spindles are bent. Got to remember, I've never had this on the road, and it is the wheels that are wobbling, not the tires, but it may be because I don't have the spindles perfectly centered on the wheels, and these lug nuts are just on there finger tight too. That's the other thing. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to take the wheels back off. They're just the nuts are just on there finger tight. Take it back off and make sure they're perfectly centered before I put them back on, and I'll take the hubs and everything right off and put them in the vise. We have our shock absorbers all mounted up. Got our chrome acorn covers, oh yeah. And we have our drag link hooked up. And now you can see what I was talking about when I said just a little bit more detail with the kingpins, tops painted red. And my this axle, I made it so that it actually has brass or bronze bushings in there. Can you see that in there? Yep, top and bottom. And I greased them before I put it together, but they're impregnated, oil impregnated, so they have some natural lubricant anyway. And before I put my wheels on for the last time, I will put some grease on my spindles as well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Looks good. We have our radius rods hooked up, but they're not tightened up because I need to do an alignment. You know what I mean? Got to get my alignment done. So we'll see how that goes. We have to align both the front and the rear, and I think what I will do is I will align the rear end first and get it square to the frame. The frame is square. I made sure it was square when I built it. I will align the rear end first, and then we will align the front end with the rear end and make it all perfectly square. And then I will have to also set my toe in. The caster is preset. If you look at the way I built it, the axle tips back just a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but it does tip back just a little bit. And the camber on the wheels is preset. They were leaning in quite a bit at the top before, and you saw me welding on these bushings on the bottom, and I used them to get them back as close to perpendicular as possible. They still may not be perfectly perpendicular. I don't know. They don't look too bad compared to the rear wheels, I guess. But close enough for a goofy cart. You know what I mean? Yeah, close enough for a goofy cart. We have our drag link hooked up right there. That's not all tightened up either, that's loose, so that I can make adjustments. Because, you know, when we get it set up, we've got to make sure that our steering wheel is straight, don't you know? And actually, one of the things I can do to get it started in the right direction here is I can set it like that. Yep, so it's pretty much straight like that, and then I'll adjust this here and adjust my front tie rods to get it all tracking properly. So yeah, I still haven't been able to find the piece of chrome that I thought I was going to use to come off of here and go back to the firewall to stabilize the top of that. If I don't find it pretty soon, I'll have to come up with a different solution, and I have a couple of ideas in mind for those other solutions. So I think my next project, I'll need to get my son and my grandson over here. We need to slide the whole thing back. I've got it too far forward the way it is now, because I can't take the jack stands out and still have enough room for my front wheels to land on the lift. And well, they're hanging way out off of the lift anyway, but I'll put across, I have some 2x12 that'll put across-wise this away for the wheels to set on, front and back. I had thought about buying a sheet of plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, and putting it on there and just setting the goofy card on that. But it's too late for that now, and that's all right. We will get it so that it will work. So I think, as I started to say, I think the very next thing I've got to do is I'm going to put my inside chain on here, which requires me, take my camera, requires me to clean this bottom rail, because remember I had the oil leak and it was dripping. Well, it was running along this bottom rail, so there probably actually is, yeah, see, there's still oil on that bottom rail. So I've got to clean that off so I can put my non-skid Teflon strips on there, don't you know? We'll get them put on, and then I can put my inside chain on, and that will mean that our drivetrain will be complete all the way back to here. And then I haven't been able to find any tubing in stock. You know, I got a bunch of stuff over there that I've collected from the dump and picking and stuff like that, but I don't have any that are exactly the right size to put a sleeve over here, so I may have to go to the scrap yard and buy a piece. Not a scrap yard, it's a clearance house for the big steel mill here, and I can go there and I can buy a length of tubing, and if they have short lengths the right size, I can get it for like I don't know, 20 cents a pound or something like that. So I'd pay probably $2 for what I'd need, depending on how much it weighs. Anyway, so yeah, we've got our overall thing. I have a chain just sitting on here. This is the chain that does go on it. Give you an idea of how that's going to look. And I already showed you my Watts linkage in place. Our shock absorbers are all in place. Our rear suspension is all done. So along with doing that chain setup, I will also be working next on my brake system. The pieces are there, and got to decide what color I'm going to paint them. I think I'm just going to paint them the same color as the frame. I think I said that before, so they'll kind of blend in. And then I guess after that. Oh, I know. One other thing I need to do before I put the body on is put the gas tank on, which is sitting right here underneath the cover. Yep. I'll need to put the gas tank on so I can plumb my gas line. And the gas line is going to go down inside of this rail all the way up to the front, and then it'll cut across over to the other side and somehow end up to our carburetor. Before I had it running in front of this rail down here, but I don't think I want to do that again. And it would make it easy for me if I could run this gas line over here, but that's not going to work because there's our exhaust. So I guess I'm going to have to run my gas line down, and maybe I'll get another piece of this long enough to go down and feed right through that hole there. I think it would feed right through there. And if it would, see if I get it off of here. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. It fits right in the hole perfectly. So I could run that down there. And the only problem I'm going to have through there it is. How's that? You can see where the gas line comes down through, and it's right next to this pulley here. So that's not going to be cool, and I can't come back on this side. I have to go over to the other side. So that ain't good. I have to come up with a different solution than that. What other holes do we got down in here? I have one down underneath there. What happens if I stick it down through there? That would be better. That would be further away, and then I could run it across over to that frame. Then I'm still going to be running into that pulley there. Not good. Well, we'll figure that out when the time comes. For now, anyway, we'll just put our line back onto the carburetor. So there you have it. That's where we're at today. I bought a couple of pieces the other day at the thrift store when I was shopping with my wife, and one of the pieces I bought was this. And I'm thinking very seriously of using this for my cover here. And I think all I would have to do is just bend this handle around and screw it on right here. I don't know. Yeah, it's a T-strainer. Yep, that's what it is. See that? Made in the USA. Woo-hoo! Ain't that cool? I'm still thinking about the other one though. I like the other piece that I have that matches this one. That would be better. It would be more copacetic, don't you know? Okay. So anyway, until next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man. Thanks for watching, for commenting, and for subscribing. Bye for now. Sometimes necessity is the mother of invention.